comparte el espectáculo.
Claudia Nestor.
Good morning. Today, Nestor and I, we're going to talk to you about the USA Army in Costa Rica. Now, first of all, I want you to imagine that this is the year 1989, and we're in Panama. We are in our building, we are in our apartment, and we have to sleep with our mattress in the windows because there are missiles exploding outside. Well, actually, this is what happened when the U.S. Army intervened Panama to arrest Noriega because of drug dealing. Now, these are pictures of how Panama looked during the 1989, and this is another one. Now, Nestor is going to explain you how we're going to develop a little bit this topic.
Well, first, we will start with the project per se. Then we will give our arguments against that.
Yes, actually, first of all, we want you to set now here in 2010. Last July, the Congress approved a law in which they allowed the U.S. Army to enter our country, and yes, our country in marine and also land. And this is important to say because according to Dr. Sultan Grossman, who is a professor of geography in the Auburn State College, he made a list of all the countries intervened by the United States, which is that one, throughout the history, since 1890s to the present. And most of them they intervened to help the country, right? And most of when they intervene in Central America or Latin American countries is to protect their economic interests or natural resources that they want. And now, yes. Now Nestor is going to start with our first argument.
Well, the project, as Claudia mentioned, was requested under the law 7929. That was a project that started at 1999. It aims to eliminate the drug trafficking with between both countries. Well, this project this year it includes the authorization of 46 vessels to enter the country from July the 1st to December the 21st. This plan includes not only the anti-drug agreement, but also humanitarian help, which is the doctors that are now in Limon. Then, and in the project, the U.S. Army asks for free mobilization, which means that the U.S. soldiers can go wherever they want within our country. And this is the first argument. Sorry, the first thing. Sorry, I will rephrase that. The first reason why we are against this project. They are free to do whatever they need to do in order to accomplish their mission. That means that if they kill somebody, that if they commit any crime, that would be out of our jurisdiction. For example, if a soldier kills a person in Limon, let's say, the family would have to file a lawsuit in the United States, and the soldier will be judged under the USA laws. This is tricky because Costa Rica already gave them the liberty to do whatever they need to do to do their chores. So they would say that this person was interfering with their mission. So the family of the person in Limon would lose the case. Well, this is according Judy Blanco. He wrote this in Costa Rica abre las puertas a la militarización, en Semanario Universal.
Now, our another argument against this is the exaggerated quantities of military vessels and soldiers that they allow to enter our country. And for example, well, actually the excuse to let them get in was to control drug dealing in the Atlantic coast, and which it's getting worse every day, right? But the problem here is that they allowed the entrance of 46 vessels of this size. They are 135 meters long, each of them, and they can transport 200 soldiers in each of them and 2 Black Hawks. Then they also allowed the entrance of 200 helicopters of this. This is the CH-46 and of these ones too. Actually, we have seen these helicopters around the Central Valley here. Last time when we were in class, we saw them and we were like, I don't like them. And finally, they allowed 7,000 soldiers enter the country. All these soldiers, of course, will come with the 46 vessels. And I think, in our opinion, these quantities are exaggerated. First of all, they are bringing equipment that will not allow them to go after drug dealers. I mean, they have these really fast boats in which they make the transactions in the oceans, and they will have these huge boats or huge ships, and they are not good for that mission. And now our last argument against this, Claudia Nestor is going to explain it.
I don't know if you have seen this, but this is sold in many places in Costa Rica, especially tourist places, because we are proud of saying that we don't have an army since 1948, when President Figueres abolished it, and we are also proud to say that that money that would go to the army is invested on education, on health, and other important fields. However, this project has caused many reactions in the international community. For example, Evo Morales, the president of Bolivia, said that Costa Rica did have an army, that now Costa Rica had the American army. He had to apologize because the government of Costa Rica said that it was insulting because the army was doing other chores, not the military chores, and that he didn't know the history of Costa Rica. But he was not so far from reality. We are having an army in our coast. I think Claudia has an experience from Limon.
Yes, actually, like a month ago, I went to Puerto Viejo, and on our way, we saw 3 trucks of these military trucks that you can see in movies. They are all green and all covered, and I mean, at least I had never seen that kind of trucks in this country until that day. And actually it was really shocking for me because they were all covered and you couldn't see what was in those trucks. And this was, that happened like in July, like at the end of July, like the last days. And actually the part that shocked me the most was that, I mean, Limon is a really touristic area, and it's one of the areas that tourists love the most because of their natural beauties and all the culture. And most of tourists that come to Costa Rica, they do research about the country, like now our classmates said, and actually this is affecting our image, our global image as a touristic area.
I think Costa Ricans were not worried about that because the vessels were in Limon, but the reactions came when we saw those helicopters in the Central Valley. That was the other image that was famous and it's around the media. We also have double discourse. For example, President Arias was saying last year, or for example, September the 25th, in La Nación, in an article called Arias dijo sus 4 verdades en la ONU. It was because he criticized rich countries because, among other problems that they were causing, for example, to ecology, they were selling guns, and then they were criticizing that. So that's what our president was criticizing. But now we are doing the same. We are criticizing what we are doing. We are accepting an army here in our lands. Well, to conclude.
Sorry. No, not yet. Sorry. Actually, many of you may be thinking about all this humanitarian help discourse that we have in the media, and this is about the USS Iowa Jima, that it's part of a program called Promesa Continua, and they actually have 2 surgery rooms and dentists that will help in conflict zones. And there's an image of here the part of the Embassy of the United States. This image was taken from the U.S. Embassy webpage. And however, I mean, this program, it's part of the cooperation agreement that we have with the United States, but they are not still doing what they are supposed to do with drug dealing. So for us, this is a way to take the attention of people away from the real deal, from the real problem.
Okay, for example, to end up with, Mauricio Borashi, the anti-drug commissioner of Costa Rica, said that it was better to have the U.S. Army here in our lands than having drug dealers or hitmen. But we know that that's not true. There are other ways of improving the situation in Limon and in Costa Rica. For example, strengthening the laws, fighting against corruption. There are other ways to do that. To end up, we have to understand we are having an army here in our lands. That makes us think what comes next. We are getting very permissive with all this situation. Now we are against our culture, our no army culture, and that's very shocking for us. That's why we decided to talk about this topic, because maybe we were not really aware of the magnitude of the problem.
And just to make you think about what is coming, as Nestor said, and to tried not to say, okay, they are in Limon, this one happening here, but I mean, in any moment they will say, okay, drug dealers are in San Jose, so we have to fight against them.